Welcome on in and gather round, gang. It's time for some more Total War Warhammer 3 news. Just as I was getting prepared for today's Thrones of Blood stream, Creative Assemblies released a blog on Tides of Torment, and specifically Sea Lord Aislinn and all the details about his faction, so let's jump right on in. I am the most thrilled to jump in and actually see what Aislinn has to offer, so let's get to it. Greetings all, welcome to the first installment of our Tides of Torment Deep Dives. In today's blog, we steer our attention towards the fortunes of Ulthuan and its noble people, the ancient race of the Asur. Or rather, let us look far, far away. For the adventures of Aislinn, Ulthuan's greatest naval commander, begin in the southeastern quadrant of the Immortal Empire's map, in the waters of the Eastern Isles. That's so interesting. It's the other side of the world from Ulthuan, but distance is no object to Aislinn's loyalty. Leading the High Elf Sea Patrol, Aislinn is about to uncover a Druchii plot to invade his beloved homeland, and only the commander of the fabled dragon ships has the naval expertise to counter this existential threat. Aislinn is the hero Ulthuan needs, though not perhaps the one its cultured and altogether privileged nobles desire. Oh, he's not Batman, he is far more John Paul Jones. Aislinn the Pernicious, some label him on account of his brutal zeal with which he executes his office. However, his grasp of fleet tactics, shipboard discipline, naval assaults, and his command of the denizens of the deep put him above reproach. He's one of Ulthuan's greatest champions, though has given his reputation maintaining the support of the influential elven lords when far from home is an ever a challenge for him. Dragon ships are no mere naval vessels. They are vast war platforms, capable of developing their own infrastructure, mustering and housing many thousands of troops, and transporting them at pace to precisely where they're needed. They are basically your high elf Black Arcs. I think they're still smaller than Black Arcs, though, overall. To meet and defeat the Druchii invasion, Aislinn will need to gather the rare resources required to build a fleet of these floating behemoths. This is no mean task. He'll need to curry favor with Ulthuan's greatest war leaders by capturing settlements and handing them over for stewardship in order to gain the vital assistance and unique benefits that each lord offers. Nice. So he's got, sounds like a very unique take on the campaign. We'll see here in a moment. It's right down here. So embracing the full freedom of the seas like no other. Aislinn's campaign is one of tremendous mobility. His forces perform lightning coastal strikes, capturing settlements and developing elven colonies and outposts, expanding Ulthuan's interests and enhancing his own capabilities and forces, before the High Elf Sea Patrol tackles the Druchii invasion head-on. So build up what you've got, and then go throat chop ol' Malekith. Or I guess Loki, if the trailer has anything to say about it. Alright, so our campaign mechanics. Despite his naval focus, Aislinn's campaign is still one of limited territorial conquest. While he's the commander of his own dragon ship, he must gather the rare resources needed to construct a fleet of 5 such vessels, including his own, in order to head off the Druchii invasion, so he needs to construct 4 of them. To head off the Druchii invasion. To do so, he must conquer enemy settlements and dedicate their ownership to the major elven legendary lords, Tyrion, Teclis, Alariel, Elithanar, Imric, and Eltharion. Let's call them the Big Six for shorthand. By doing so, he can win their support and enlist their aid in improving his own forces, as well as accessing powerful unique items and followers. And while the settlements he captures become the property of elven nobles, he can still establish outposts and elven colonies within them, developing each to amass the resources he needs to fulfill his duties, building virtue and improving the output of his holdings. Not every settlement is granted. Some are taken as colonies, capable of outfitting and enhancing the new dragon ships, while unlocking bonuses to the many aspects of his campaign and battle gameplay. When he grants a settlement, it always becomes an outpost, but when he captures one, it becomes a colony. But colonies are limited in number, making their development a crucial strategic choice. So most of your settlements you're handing over to other factions, but a few of them you're maintaining as your own colonies, and they're limited, so that's super interesting. Unique mechanic, we've got the Asur domination here, so we can kind of zoom in. It doesn't zoom in much, I can probably do more on in editing. So you've got a resource up here that's building up. Colony dedication, outpost dedication, and dragon ship dedication. You can't see much what's going on inside, but you can see the leaders down here. These are filled in. We don't know why, but interesting. Cool. So we've got consult the leaders in 8 turns. That's an event you can kick off. Well, it sounds like we don't know exactly what that is. Well, hopefully we'll get to see further down here. And then we've got the active effects, which it's also not showing off. Again, maybe hopefully later on. But this is a neat screen. Not much information gathered from it, except for you can do things with your different dedications. Maybe. There's buttons there, so I assume you click on them. Asur domination is Aislinn's singular focus, conquering territory far from home and then returning that territory to the lords of Ulthuan. The benefits of doing so are all wrapped up in the Asur domination panel, accessible via a button on the top screen UI ribbon. As Aislinn captures and dedicates settlements to the Big Six, the outposts he constructs within them generate a new resource called dedication. That's likely what that is then. And these numbers are likely... Well, we don't know, but they're likely the number of settlements he's dedicated. That's what it seems like to me. The Asur domination panel also represents... Oh, hang on, I guess I missed that. Ooh, as we capture and dedicate settlements to the Big Six, the outposts he constructs with them generate a new resource called dedication. We already read that. Dedication is the currency you spend in the Asur domination panel to upgrade the various aspects of your dragon ships, outposts, and colonies. It's where you'll go to unlock new dragon ships, dragon ship and settlement building chains, increase your capacity to build new elven colonies, and a dizzying host of other campaign and battle benefits. Yeah, if anything's to go for, there are 8 per, so that is quite a bit of stuff to do. We don't know how many there are in the others, but this one has 8, so I'm guessing it's 8 per. The Asur domination panel also represents Aislinn's contact with the Big Six and tracks how many settlements you've handed to each of them. The more settlements you chuck their way, the greater the gifts they offer you in return. Each of these legendary lords can grant significant rank, attribute, and other upgrades to your armed forces, as well as magical items, weapons, banners, and followers. Yeah, that's incredible. We don't know what they give yet, but sounds good. There's a lot to explore here, as each of the Big Six offers benefits that are not only themed around them, but which enhance your forces in specific ways. Examining what they have to offer in detail, then gifting settlements to the lords whose benefits riff most with your playstyle and unit preferences can bring tangible benefits to your campaign and battles. For me personally, Alarielle was a natural first choice for bestowing settlements upon. After giving her 6, she gives you the Dawnstone, a precious gem which grants the wearer some barrier, and that went straight around Aislinn's storm weathered neck. So it's just for the barrier? Yes, we'll see what else they have. We'll see if we care about the barrier as much as the author does. Unique mechanics, outposts, and colonies. Oh, look at this screen. So establish a colony here. It has a -1. See if we can find that icon anywhere up here. Oh yes, no, here it is. This is 0 of 1. Well, maybe that's not it. I have no idea. It's similar, but it's not quite the same, so that might not be what we're thinking it is. Or you establish an outpost. Oh yeah, that icon there is exactly what's in here. So each time you dedicate one, you're giving it's showing it up on this screen here, and it looks like there are milestones we'll reach. It's total war. Of course, there's milestones we'll reach. When Aislinn or his admirals conquer a settlement, you can choose which of the 6 elven legendary lords to gift it to. However, they also retain some local building rights to further Aislinn's cause. For the most part, you'll be constructing small resource-generating outposts in these. So is it steel? Building slots from the faction there? Surely not. For Aislinn's cause, but it sounds like so you get building rights. I don't know. For the most part, you'll be constructing small resource-generating outposts in these settlements, but if you capture and hold one, you may instead establish a colony. A larger sub-settlement whose chief purpose is to generate dragon ship supplies, a critical resource for expanding and upgrading Aislinn's dragon ship fleet. Outposts are 3 sub-slot settlements, or 3-slot good grief, 3-slot sub-settlements. Oh, so it's like it's literally like an outpost, or like a Skaven undercity. That's cool. Or I guess the Pirate Cove is, I guess, the closest to this. With roughly half of their buildings focused on producing elven trade, a key resource for dragon ship development. See below. Dedication points spent in Asur domination, income, and a small drip feed of dragon ship supplies. The other half provide defensive and supportive functions, ensuring outposts remain secure while contributing to the wider war effect. On its own, a single outpost produces just a small amount of what Aislinn will require, but as he expands further and conquers more territory, the aggregated resources he gains from outposts can become quite significant. Yeah, so a slow trickle, but as you gain more and more, it'll become a roar. Elven colonies are larger and more productive than outposts, with building slots and a greater range of building chains. Aislinn is initially limited to the number he can build, though he can unlock more through Asur domination. These colonies are absolutely key to Aislinn's success. I'm going to say his name differently every single time, and it's going to be great. However, as they can generate a significant amount of dragon ship supplies and greater amounts of income, the number of dragon ship supplies that they generate each turn is dependent on how much elven trade Aislinn has generated in his many outposts. And the conversion rate from trade to supplies can be enhanced through building chain upgrades to generate trade in your outposts and turn them into supplies in your colonies. It's similar to the Chaos Stores. I do love that they're taking different overall approaches to how your campaign is actually played, as opposed to just expand and paint the map your color. We're still kind of doing that. We're also painting the map in the other elves' colors too, which is really, really cool. And in fact, these mechanics sound like they'd be perfect for Loki, or just over for the dark, of course, the dark elves. I don't know if they would do an exact copy paste, but man, if it's this is perfect for him as well. Another major benefit of elven colonies is that they can become recruitment centers for Aisling's navies, and can produce certain units which aren't available via dragon ship recruitment, such as Silverhelms, Illyrian Reavers, and Dragon Princes, because there's no way you can train a horse on a boat. So when a new dragon ship is constructed, mooring it up near a well-developed elven settlement is a great way to kickstart its army and quickly make it into a functional war vessel, while the dragon ship begins developing its own recruitment infrastructure. I mean, you could, but you don't really need the elven cavalry that much, especially with what sounds like we got what monstrous infantry coming on in a single entity, so you don't actually need your cavalry quite as much. So we'll see. The dragon ships may not need to moor up at all. Of course, as soon as Aisling has set up his outpost or colony, he's in far too much of a hurry to stick around and defend it. Fortunately, both have building chains dedicated to solid garrison upgrades, and even if you don't really own the settlement, you can still manually defend it if it comes under attack. That's amazing! Developing these sub-settlements and enhancing the flow of resources they provide is the foundation for both Aisling's progress and the growth of his naval might. In fact, I'm gonna just kind of pause real quick. This is something that I think Nakai needs, where if someone attacks his kind of vassals, in any of those vassal settlements, he can go ahead and manually jump in and try to defend them, because he's always going to do better than the AI in auto-resolve, so you might as well give it to the player. Alright, but I'm gonna grab more coffee. Alright, but I got more coffee and we can get back to it. Outposts generate elven trade. Elven colonies convert this into dragon ship supplies. Dragon ship supplies can then be spent on constructing and developing Aisling's fleet of dragon ships. No other legendary lord works in quite the same way. No, they definitely don't. It's very similar to the kind of Chaos Dwarf resource management, but I do love it. I guess we'll see how much we enjoy it. It sounds great. Activate 4 outpost dedication upgrades, 4 colony upgrades, and then 4 dragon ship upgrades. Is that how you unlock your additional boats? The dragon ship is the mightiest weapon of the Ulthuan's navy. Only the greatest admirals of the Asur are deemed worthy of commanding one. Each dragon ship is a naval fortress, and the wise admiral chooses which to equip them with, from artillery to shrines that summon oceanids. Shrines that summon oceanids, huh, in battle. As you unlock upgrades in the Asur domination, you will unlock access to additional dragon ships. You can recruit them from the dragon ship tab in the Lord recruitment. Sweet. I love the multi-tiered moored boat here. That's pretty great. Trying to see if there's anything else we can kind of glean from this. Path to Glory. Oh, did they change? They've probably done that for a long time. It's probably always been called Path to Glory. I thought it was called How to Play, or How They Play, or whatever. Cool. Now nothing else to see here. The fabled dragon ships form the back of Aislin's tail. These towering twin-hulled war platforms are capable of producing mighty armies and delivering them to battle. They're also exceedingly rare artifacts. As Aisling's campaign begins, he helms the only surviving dragon ship. Through his drive for Asur domination and the generation of dragon ship supplies, he's able to construct more, each commanded and helmed by a named Helm Lord. Oh, so do we have kind of pseudo-legendaries with him? That'd be great. When 5 such ships are completed and armed, he'll be equipped to face the Druchii invasion. Similar to a horde army, each dragon ship is capable of developing advanced building chains, which unlock recruitment, growth, replenishment, unit rank, and experience, recruitment capacity, and much more. In short, all the kind of functionality and benefits you'd see within other factions' land lumber settlements. Yeah, they're basically a even more functional Black Ark, which is cool. Moreover, dragon ships provide their full unit recruitment options to any friendly vessels within their area of influence. It's well worth coordinating your fleet so that newly recruited sea lords, or rather lords or sea helms, can access a well-developed dragon ship's more advanced recruitment options. Like elven colonies, it's a great way to kickstart new armies with higher tier units than they would otherwise have access to. I agree. Each building in a chain requires dragon ship supplies to construct, so the development of your fleet moves in lockstep with your territorial expansion. As your major source of dragon ship supplies comes from the elven colonies you construct, and the elven trade which is fed to them by your outposts. Aislin's dragon ships are much more than floating horde armies, however, and while it might be easy to conclude that they are the high elf equivalent of the Druchii Black Arks, yeah, they're a little bit different. They differ in some important ways. For starters, they are rarer and harder to develop. as they rely on dragon ship supplies to construct and develop, as opposed to gold from your treasury. Using the mist landing stance, Aislinn and his Helm Lords can covertly disembark their armies to perform lightning strikes against settlements, bypassing threats in between them and ranging even farther inland if they wish. All the dragon ship infrastructure goes with them, and can be relaunched when the army reaches the coastline again, meaning they aren't tethered to the seas in the same way as Black Arcs. In short, Aislinn's dragon ships grant his forces a level of global mobility beyond any other faction. Yeah, they're similar to Black Arcs, but upgraded in several ways, and the ability to, so this sounds like it says you can go in and hit a lightning strike, so not quite an ambush like the kind of teleportation that Tzeentch gets, but you can still kind of trigger a lightning strike and start sniping armies on the coast. That's fantastic. You can clear them out one at a time, making what would normally be a scary fight much, much, much easier. We also got a unique feature, Aislinn's sea lanes. Oh, really? This sea lane, excuse me, can be entered by any lord hero for the direct travel between the Jade Sea and the Eastern Isles. Isle Sea Patrol are extremely navigated and have 0 time to travel. You're darn right. Aislinn's masterful knowledge of the seas grants his navy's access to sea lanes, which others know nothing about. These enable the dragon ships to swiftly move around the world to locations where new elven colonies may be built, and snatching settlements from unsuspecting factions to hand to the Big Six before moving on to the next venture. To further enhance this, the dragon ships can be upgraded with much greater movement range, and the ability to replenish action points after using sea lanes or winning battles, giving them a tremendous level of mobility. I'm sorry, you're basically Khorne as this faction? The Khornate colonizers, although the dragon ships grant you access to uncommonly speedy global movement. Yeah, that sounds awesome. And then for our unique stance, we'll learn more about mist landing. So we can see here, walk the mist, allowing you to move sea to land, ignoring any impassable terrain. So you have looks like 50% less campaign movement, or is that a plus and I'm just blind? Immune to most attrition, minimum requirement to assume not move this turn. So maybe you do get to range further, but you can't move. I can't see that, unfortunately. Well, we'll have to see it in editing, and post-me can shout at me in the with editing. Alright, so any melee defense in this region is either going to lose melee defense and they're going to lose speed. That is terrifying. Good grief, Aislinn is a monster. Oh, and we can actually get to see his starting army, too. So 2 of what look like the new, I don't know, they were called, not Sea Helms, but the Ship's Company. Yeah, the Ship's Company. We got a couple of Sea Guard, looks like the new Sky Cutters, and then I think these are the smaller Oceanids. Yeah, 16 of them, so the smaller version. Neat. That's not a bad army at all. 2 flying chariots. Excellent. Moving under the cover of the coastal mists, dragon ship captains can swiftly deploy entire armies onto land, irrespective of the coastal terrain. Cliff edges and mountain ranges pose no barrier when adopting the mist landing stance, enabling you to transition your armies from sea directly to inland locations, or directly into conflict with any settlement in range, which is awesome. So you'll want to use this stance when fighting every single time, but it just requires that you aren't able to move to kind of reposition first. You aren't able to kind of move in and get a better look. You better know exactly what's going on before you jump into that battle. And I'm betting once you do use it, that's it for your movement. So it's a one and done. It's a good one, but you'll want to make sure you're using it with precision. For Aislinn himself, we got some beautiful art. Look at him. Yeah, the dual blades are awesome. I guess he's got one blade and one kind of parrying dagger. Oh, he's got a star dragon. Fair. That's Caradrian. Oh yeah, it says here. So the Sea Helm Lords. This is Aislinn's mount. This is actually the Sea Helm Lords. I think these guys look great too. I mean, this one's like clearly my favorite. They have cut this from a mermaid somewhere out there, and they just gilded it, that's sending a message. That is, they had 3 different variants for them, which is not bad. Caradrian looks great. Yeah, he's just like an upgraded version of the Phoenix Star. Nothing to say here. That's awesome looking. Oh, does he have a unique kind of? This looks like an Arcane Phoenix, but it looks like it's a unique kind. Slightly. There's our Mist Mage. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Now, between their movement range upgrades and access to Aislinn's sea lanes, dragon ships can move around in the world pretty damn quick, But Aislinn, as Ulthuan's most experienced Sea Lord, leaves your average dragon ship captain in the dust. Or should that be Surf? So they're all going to be much slower than Aislinn, which, fair enough, that makes sense. At any rate, his base trait, Protector of the Seas, grants him massive campaign movement bonuses while at sea, but that's aside from any other campaign movement bonuses conferred by his other skills, dragon ship upgrades, Asur domination benefits, or embedded heroes, so you can get around very fast. The same trait also reduces the upkeep of his ship's company units and any aquatic beasties in his army. Buffs missile strength by a whopping 20% for his ranged units, okay, and gives him the iron-handed captain ability, which he uses to bellow at and instantly rally a routing unit. I figure that's what a lot of those kind of abilities do, but he just has kind of an extra one too, the iron-handed captain. Cool. 20% missile strength for ranged units. Yeah, that's calm. He's a capable, all-round melee combatant, gaining access to a Lothern Skycutter chariot for added punch and mobility, and has a host of unique skills themed around his naval focus. Complementing his Protector of the Seas trait, his skills grant a rising series of buffs and bonuses to Oceanids, Merworms, and ship's company units, combined with the further bonuses to these units found in the tech tree. Dragon ship upgrades and Asur domination, these units soon become must-haves, particularly in the case of Oceanids and ship's company, which began life as fairly average early game picks. Yeah, I've heard some comments actually that are kind of interested to see how the ship's company are going to perform, since they are more or less just your bleak swords for the sword and board variant of the Druki, where they actually have spears and swords. The high elves have always only had spears, so that was kind of their asymmetrical drawback. But now they've got what seems to be the same variant, so it's basically just your swordsmen. Yeah, fair enough, we'll see how good they are. The final trick of Aisling's sleeve, though, is his new right, the Invocation of Mathlin. As well as providing buffs to ship's company and sea monster units, this prayer to the Lord of the Storms and Seas also has a chance of resurrecting any high elf units destroyed in battle. I'm sorry, what? During its 5-turn duration, so he gets the same kind of demonic. That's insane. Well, Aisling is going to be my favorite lord going forward. That seems to be the case. Experienced mariners and proud leaders. Oh, these are the sea helms. Okay, we're moving on down to the sea helms now, which we definitely jumped the gun on. But here's our 3 variants for them, and they all look quite stoic and grumpy, as one should. Experienced mariners and proud leaders, sea helms are the nautical lords who serve under Aisling as his fleet captains. The sea helm tree, a skill tree, provides access to the Great Eagle and Skycutter chariot, and enhancements for some key units which can be recruited from the dragon ships. However, each sea helm can also focus on benefits around specific units in the greater High Elf roster you may want to choose to include in their army. By dedicating a sea helm to one of the 3 gods in the Elven Pantheon, one of the 3 gods, they can choose useful bonuses to the ship's company, Lothern Sea Guard with Mathlin, Spearmen, Rangers, and Archers for Isha, or Dragons with Adioth. Cool. You can choose, it's not just locked into only using your water-based and your kind of dragon ship-based units. You can use one of 3 choices. How exciting. Now on to our legendary hero, Caradrian. The chosen of Assyrian and captain of the Phoenix Guard joins Aislinn in his defense of Ulthuan. Extolling the virtues of the Phoenix King himself, Caradrian is a powerful addition to your forces, whether acting independently or bolstering one of your armies with his considerable martial prowess. All of this he achieves without uttering a word, for his vow of silence must never be broken. Riding the legendary Frostheart Phoenix... it's a Frostheart. That's what I was missing there. Starting into battle, Caradrian wields the mighty Phoenix Blade, which grants him flaming attacks and significant bonuses to both regular and armor-piercing damage. And as you might imagine, any Phoenix Guard he serves with are empowered by his presence. Though Caradrian's unique skills, and a range of enhancements can be unlocked, including ward saves, magical attacks, bonus weapon strength, and the unbreakable trait for any Phoenix Guard units in his army. Phoenix Guard and Phoenixes in his army also get a chance to rise from the ashes if destroyed in combat, and if wounded himself, his recovery time is considerably reduced. So we've got a couple of instances where the elves are getting the kind of Demons Rise Again and Dead Rise Again ability. That's very interesting. It's actually going to go a long ways towards the elves staying alive, at least if they get Caradrian and for any in the army of Aisling, at least. Alright, so now we're moving on to our Mist Mage, which for some reason here, he kind of looks like a dwarf. Something about this getup. He looks great. Look at some wee little legs here, though. Alright, out of these 3, I'm thinking this is my favorite variant. They have the spear on their face, so if they need to and they run out of Winsomatic, they can always just pull this helmet off and use it as a weapon. Which I'm here for. Masters of the new Lore of Mist Mist mages manipulate the weather around them to wrong-foot the enemy, enhance the... That doesn't sound very dangerous. Enhance the capabilities of themselves and for the units in battle, or summon units of ocean elemental oceanids directly into battle. Oh, great. More summons sound awesome. The lore of Mist is a more of a support lore focused around buffs and debuffs to enemy units. Or I guess, good grief. The lore of Mists is more of a support lore, focused around buffs and debuffs to elements such as vigor, speed, resistances, and leadership. The Mist Mage's unique Cloak of Dew skill improves their resistances and grants them the Wayfarer trait, which is insanely strong, enabling them to zip around the battlefield very quickly, even quicker when you mount them on a Great Eagle or Sky Cutter chariot, and deliver their support where and when it's needed most. So a support style lore of magic which can summon in oceanids, that seems nothing wrong here. Melee infantry, we've got the ship's company. Look at these lads. That's not the ship's company. That's again not the ship's company. There we go. We'll fix this up. Some rather stoic looking mariners here. I just feel like these cloaks are going to slow you down. Elves are built different, but it feels like the cloaks are going to slow you down when you're moving on a boat. The rank and file of Aislinn's navies, the ship's company, are a tier 1 infantry with average melee stats, but reasonable armor and shields. They also have the aquatic trait, so are unfussed when fighting in watery environments, which is very good for your smaller unit types. I can't lie, that's a very good trait to have. However, with the many tweaks, buffs, and enhancements that Aislinn, the Sea Helms, and Asur domination, technologies and the dragon ships themselves grant to ship's company units, over time they begin to punch well above their weight implied by their low recruitment and upkeep costs. That sounds amazing. Our favorite, or a good unit for us to just kind of dump all of the skills and everything we can into to see how crazy you can get them, which sounds like a lot of fun. We've got next the monsters infantry, our oceanids. Image 11 oceanids, yes. The smaller of Aisling's elemental units, oceanids are sea elementals that perform a solid anti-infantry role. They're great for pinning enemy units in place, and with their high weapon damage, they punch hard. Like other elemental units, they'll never rout, but do begin to take health damage when their morale fails. They're basically your demons of the different elemental winds. This one being the elemental wind of life, so these are your life elementals. Next up, we have the sea elementals. Oh, they don't have the picture for the oceanids is broken. However, we do have the picture for the sea elementals, your rather large single entity, which is filled with all kinds of debris as it swirls around the battlefield. That's awesome. The huge sea elemental is a terrifying creature to behold. While unarmored, it has many resistances and immunity to contact effects. Two nastier tricks up its sleeve are its wounds hex, which passively debuffs the strength and speed of units it's engaged with, so it like forces you to have wounds. Awesome. And then split up, a summon ability which calls on a group of oceanids to deploy to the field. When their summon oceanids fall to 25% health, they explode, causing a nasty burst of splash damage to those around them. Splashed fully to death. So these are a single entity that is also a summoner. How interesting. So like a great big debuffing summoner. I can't wait to see how this looks on the battlefield too. The swirling water and everything is going to be very interesting. Moving right along, we are to the Merworm, a colossal regenerating slab of missile-resistant terror. Oh, this is one of the tabletop models? Well, it doesn't really look like it. Kind of thought it was, but no, this looks like a computer-generated image. Either or. A colossal regenerating slab of missile-resistant terror, the Merworm is normally the sort of thing that would keep a sailor up at night. Thankfully, Aislinn and the Sea Helms have kinship with these beasts, so they're a great addition for any dragon ship army. Dealing a whopping 700 armor-piercing damage, coupled with anti-large trait, the preferred target is clear. Other big monsters. So they're like a Charybdis of Order. Awesome. Doesn't sound like they have anything other going on then. They're just great big, they deal a lot of damage, and they regenerate. So, I mean, they do what they need to do. But on to my most anticipated unit, the Sky Cutter. Look at these things. Although, it would, one of those things where if you're staying in one place, I don't think these work very well, but this actually shows us how things like jets and just kind of other aerial units that would normally be, like we've seen with the gyrocopters, but copters can kind of idle in one place, no problem, but your things that would normally take kind of the actual air moving on the wings to kind of keep them aloft. Long story short, they're definitely willing to bend the rules for actual physics in order to make units fun like this. So I could see things like even a more modern Total War being capable or being a possibility if we're willing to do stuff like this. So cool. So it's got the two different kinds of Sky Cutters. This is the one that looks like for the Lord. Or maybe not, we'll see here. These Eagle-born chariots come in two flavors. Crewed with bowmen or fitted with Eagle Claw bolt throwers, which is just ridiculous sounding. Those can fire while moving, which makes the bolt thrower variant in particular a massive upgrade over its lumbering, ground-based forebear. Pack some of these marvelous contraptions in your army and you'll be able to precision target troublesome enemy units, while keeping the Sky Cutters well away from harm. Yeah, you can indeed. It doesn't say they're very good in melee. It doesn't mention how good they are in melee, but I can imagine as a chariot, you use these things well, and if they're heavy enough, they can be monstrous. Just think Scarbrand. That whole unit goes away immediately when he charges through, and it's not entirely because of his weapon strength. It's also because of what's going on with the charge there, so we'll have to see if you can do the same thing with these things. And that's a wrap for Aislinn. Let us know your thoughts on Ulthuan's ruthless naval commander in the comments, and if you're looking for more, please come back tomorrow to check out his gameplay showcase. We'll be back next week to turn the spotlight on the denied one herself, T'Challa. Better keep an eye out, she's always on the hunt for more thralls, and I'm gonna hard pass on becoming one of T'Challa's thralls, thank you. Also, well, that's going to be our dev diary on Aislinn. Let me know what you think. Well, Aislinn and also the Miss Mage and kind of everything else that's coming with his faction, which I am loving the look of everything here, especially our new Lore of Magic. Can't wait to get into that, but I'll cut it and quit rambling. What is your favorite of what you've seen so far in this little High Elf showcase? Is it Aislinn, or is it something else that he is bringing with him to battle? Or are you going to be skipping Aislinn for one of the other two factions? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you all in the next one.